To call this Caddo Parish February 29th, leap year, 3:30 p.m. work session to order. Mr. Hopkins, please.
Dominic, Johnson, Jackson, Lynn, Bowman, Cawthorn, Ridge Watts, Middleton, Atkins, Chavez,
Here, sir.
Smith, Epperson.
Thank
We
you.
have a quorum, sir.
Fantastic. Mr. Dominic, if you would do the prayer, and Commissioner Middleton, if you would do the pledge, please.
All stand, please. Bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here today. Watch over, forgive us our many sins. Forgive us in our many failures and faults and our shortcomings. Just ask and pray that you will be with us. Be with our citizens of Caddo Parish. Be with us as elected officials as we move forward with the business of Caddo. Just ask that you will put your hand upon us, that we'll do the very best that we can. Be with our military, dear Lord. Thank you for all the wonderful things you've done. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone, before I lead the pledge here, it seems like we do it the way we learned it in second and third grade. Let's say it like we're proud of our country, proud of this flag, and let's put it out there. Ladies and gentlemen, please face the flag of the United States. Place your right hand over your heart, or if you're military or veteran, brow salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank y'all.
Hey, Jay.
Are there any agenda additions? Mr. Hopkins, I do not see any agenda additions. Move on to citizens' comments. Each citizen has 3 minutes to address the commission on any issue that they would like. We'll start off with Mr. Rob Broussard. And when y'all approach the mic, if you could please say your name and your address, please.
Rob Broussard, 451 Santa Fe, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Lynn, President Lynn, Mr. Wilson, commissioners, I'd like to say 2 quick things on 2 issues. The first one is that as you address the travel issue today, I would ask all of you to postpone any votes, because as we speak, the commission is in the middle of litigation on several of these issues, and I don't know if y'all are going anywhere in the near future where travel would be an issue, so it may be advisable to hold off on voting on this until such time as the court rules, and then possibly it would help clarify some things so that it would be clear for all of us to see what's appropriate. Second, I think that this issue can be resolved in the Charter Review Committee by having it identified specifically as travel as a part of the charter, and I think that would be the appropriate place to introduce a travel budget. Second, the EAP, I would also encourage all of you to vote with Mr. Johnson's original proposal to postpone it and go back to what was said in the original resolution with the city, to act on a 2-to-1, and if the city reduced their budgetary allowances to the EAP, that you would also do the same and follow their guidance in that. That concludes what I have to say. Thank you all for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard. Mr. Harold Stater, please. Later. Excuse me. I knew that.
It's Sater. Harold Sater, 7710 Joella Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71108. One of the things I'd like to discuss is the D.C. trips. I was on the board of the American Rental Association for 3 years, even served on the executive board. We made many trips to D.C. trying to get congressmen to work with us to pass different laws, and we were successful with something. I did it for 14 years. Yes, I had some private motives for going. My daughter lives there, my son-in-law lives there, my grandchildren. But the money to pay for those trips, other than the hotel bill, came out of Harold Sater's pocket. We accomplished many good things up there. The attendance was tremendously successful. The Rental Association is one of the few associations that has businesses in every one of the 50 states. When we met every year, usually in April, we had over 100 people there to go try and visit congressmen. The time of the congressman is limited. Many times we had to meet with the staff, or we met while the congressmen were doing other things. One year I met with Congressman, can't remember, going across to the other buildings, trying to conduct a meeting. So you know how much we accomplished on that trip. Our association is finding it's easier to try and set up and meet when the congressmen are back in our territory. We get to bring more people to the meetings. We give them better presentations, and they have a lot more questions for us and get to meet a lot more of their constituents. So I would recommend that in the future we look at trying to meet with the congressmen when they're back home here. One of the problems they're having, it's almost turned into they fly back to D.C. every Monday, fly back to home every Friday. So they are spending a good deal of time here in their home areas, and it's not just Louisiana. So it's something across the whole country. And I'd like to use it as one of our ways to help save some of the money that we don't have. And the other thing I want to talk about is the expense accounts. I worked for the world's largest corporation at one time, General Motors. I was the planning guy here when we built the plant. We didn't spend the first nickel without getting an approval. And after we spent that first nickel, we had to explain what we spent it for, why we were spending it. And we had a supervisor and a controller to do that with. I would like to review, or just one thing in particular. I came to Mr. Epperson's seminar last spring. We paid for a gentleman to fly in from Florida to talk about a zoo. If Mr. Ken tells me that he would spend his own money to do that, I'll be glad to back him. But I don't think so, not in these economic times. And again, when you look at things like that, and I forget off the top of my head how much it cost, but I know there could have been some savings in that program. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. David Smith.
Thank you, sir. David Smith, Biomed Research Foundation Entrepreneurial Acceleration Program, 2031 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71103. I know EAP is back on your agenda today, and I'd ask for your continued support in the EAP. It's important that I bring up that EAP actually was started in the Parish Commission here. And after we got the first initial visit to Austin, Texas, then we recruited, because of your success and your support, we recruited the city afterwards. So really, this is your investment, this is your economic development activity that really got all of this started. And it was a 5-year program. We're going into year 3 of this program. With that, I know I put in front of you, or Jay put in front of you, our achievements. We've exceeded every goal that those are the parish goals that are in the agreement. We've exceeded every one of those goals that you've given us, maybe 2 and 3 times above that. This is really your initiative from 2013. We continue to see a lot of startup companies here in Caddo Parish. I think right now we're up to 272 that we've actually worked with. Some of them got investments, some from the local angel fund, some from other groups, but there are many that didn't get investment that we have actually supported that became bankable, or they were able to bootstrap their activities and grow here. Now, we never had a requirement to track those, but based upon your request, we'll start tracking all of those as well to the best that we can on this. I appreciate you starting this initiative. I'd ask for you to continue support of this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I do not have any more cards of people that want to speak, Mr. Hopkins, so you can move on to communicate.
We have no visitors. We move to reports, administration report.
No report today, Commissioner Lynn.
Next, we move to communication committee reports.
Commissioner Atkins.
I just wanted to let, thank you, President Lynn. Just want to let the members of the NGO committee know that I sent out an email this morning suggesting that we have our first NGO planning meeting on Monday, March 14th. So if you guys and gals can please check your schedules and let me know if that's going to work for you. hopefully we can get a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Stormy Gage Watts.
What time?
Thank
Oh.
you.
2 p.m. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We had our code enforcement and property standards meeting on today. It was a successful meeting. We covered some grounds and trying to help a neighborhood come to an agreement or conclusion on some property standards and code enforcement issues that they're having. We have some things that will be tabled until after the end of this year to the beginning of next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Watts. Commissioner Middleton.
On the Home Rule Charter Committee, we're still working on that. I'm still looking for names. I think we need to go ahead and finalize and get the final names in unless Mr. Johnson has something to add. Okay. And also on the Animal Services Committee, we had a meeting a couple weeks ago, and next thing's going to be an informal, just get together with some of the citizens advisory out at the Animal Services. So I think we're moving along. I think everything's going good on that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Middleton. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, just to add to the charter review that we do have 11 names, and that if any other commissioners want to submit a name, you need to by the end of this week. Because we're trying to put this on the work session for the next meeting in March.
On a resume from
I mean, if the commissioner can talk about the person, then you don't need a resume. But if you don't know the person, then yeah, we would need a resume.
Everything?
That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. I do not see anybody else on the board.
I want to also make mention the Louisiana Police Jury Convention this week, March 3rd through the 5th, Shreveport Convention Center. Also, property standards will meet immediately following this work session. Next, we move to President's report.
And again, I'd just like to reiterate what Commissioner Johnson said. Anybody that has someone that they would like to serve or possibly serve on the charter review, please get the name and resume, even if you can, to either Commissioner Johnson or to Commissioner Middleton. That is everything.
Next, we move to old business. Authorized ordinance number 5565 of 2016, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund for the year 2016, reduce the appropriation for Biomedical Research Foundation Acceleration Program by $200,000.
Thursday.
Second.
That is moved by Commissioner Johnson and seconded by Commissioner Middleton. Commissioner Johnson, did you want to speak on your motion?
I mean, I've talked about this numerous times, and I do want to, I guess, clarify some things that, you know, Smith talked about some goals. To my understanding, the commission really didn't have goals. There were some commissioners that might have told them about some goals, but it wasn't done by a vote that we had goals and what those goals were, because I never voted on that. Also, to my knowledge, that it only passed on the commission side because it had that stipulation of the city. And if the city wasn't going to be a part of it, then basically we didn't have the votes to carry it in the first place. So it's a local government type endeavor that we took it on jointly and not just one or the other. I ask that each one of you have looked at the invoices and all the data that finance has sent to you, and that you consider it. And you know, you talk about as this new term has started, we've come in and we've voted to do away with certain benefits that we had because you said that it wasn't the right thing to do with taxpayers' money. Well, I mean, look at how these invoices have come in, and you can tell it's not the right thing to do with taxpayers' money. You know, for administrative costs to be around 97% of the money used, I just don't think that that's a doable thing. If we have other organizations that come to us today asking us to fund them 97% of their administrative costs, will we do it? You know, and I don't think that we will. Nobody up here would say that you would continually supplement all these organizations' money 97% based on salaries benefits, and professional services. If we were not going to do it as a consistent deal, why do it at all? And I just hope that you guys would move it to Thursday, and if we need to have additional debate or discussion on it, I'm open.
Commissioner Middleton, did you want to speak on your second?
No, he said nothing. I think we just move it to Thursday and have a continued discussion on it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Chavez?
If I wanted to ask Dave a question, Smith, is that available right now?
We could, you could make a motion, someone could make a motion to suspend the
So
rules
moved.
to allow questions. Thank
So
you.
moved.
That was moved by Commissioner Middleton, and I guess it's going to pass by acclamation, so go right ahead,
All right.
sir.
My first question is, would the EAP program be able to sustain itself if we took these funds away from you?
We
What's
would
your
have
honest
reduced,
opinion?
we would have reduced services.
But you guys could still carry on?
I would say we would not be able to serve the full number that we're currently serving.
Okay. When you say that, give me a percent. For instance, would 60% of the program move on? What percent do you think would still last?
I think 60% is pretty accurate.
A good number. Second question, have you guys gone to the parent company, Biomed, to request them for some funds?
We have.
What was their response?
They'll match 1-for-1 what you give, just like they do with the city.
Are they currently doing that?
Yes, they are.
Okay. If we reduced the funds, do you think they would step up and fulfill that gap?
I can't speak for the Biomed board, but I would certainly, go to them and ask that they do that.
Okay. My hopes are that they believe in it enough to where if that funding needed to be, that they would be able to subsidize. Obviously, we have a big decision to make, and we really appreciate what you guys do for this community.
Thanks, sir.
It's one of the only engines that's driving economic growth for entrepreneurs. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez. Commissioner Dominic?
Public hearing, if this passes, goes forward, is a public hearing Thursday?
No, sir, it would be in 2 weeks.
Okay, so this is just introduced?
This is introduction, that's correct.
Okay. That's all I
Thank
need.
you, Commissioner Dominic. Commissioner Atkins?
Just for the record, I want to state I'm abstaining from all conversations on this matter.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Commissioner Jackson?
Could I get because I wanted to ask Mr. Smith or Jay or whoever another question, so I guess I need to suspend the rules.
Are we in the room?
I don't think we have to, yeah. Okay, cool.
Operate on the side.
I want to piggyback or follow up on this question that was asked by Commissioner Chavez. He indicated, or you indicated, that 60% would be sustainable, or would it cut 60%?
We'd be 60% sustainable.
Okay. Of that 60%, what services would be sustained? Who or what or?
We would have to focus solely on opportunities that we're trying to seek venture capital.
Is there a way in between, I guess at some point, whether this passes or not, I like to see what a, sounds like 40% cut, what that 40% cut would be. Leaving, if there's a way, is there a way to itemize what that 40% would be?
I mean, I'd have to go back and look at that.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look at the 272 opportunities that we have actually vetted since we started and come up with some analysis of how we would do that.
Because my second question is, he asked about the portion where Biomed would come in, the parent would come in and offset whatever reduction takes place. But what my concern is, as I read the financials, and I had not read the financial portion of it until we requested that information. I appreciate finance for sending it over to everybody. All I had seen were the reports. I was a little surprised to see that Biomed is charging the EAP for utilities and rent and those things like that. To me, that appears to be almost like a double dip, because Biomed receives, they receive a millage. And I don't believe that we should be funding a project that is Biomed's idea, it's their brainchild. And so that's very concerning to me, that Biomed as the parent company is charging you our guys rent. That's like us charging our legal department rent for being on the 8th floor.
Understand, I can definitely look into that.
And that's what jumped out to me. And so I'd like to see what that 40% is, and I'd like to see, I think we do, and I want to be on the record as I support the concept of the EAP. I support the Angel Investment Fund because we need it, but I also want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and I think it's best for us to tighten the belt up as opposed to somebody else tightening the belt up for us. But those things jumped out at me, and I didn't get a chance to really delve into it, but that jumped out and kind of punched me in the
I can
face.
certainly look into that and see, what can be done from that perspective. I did want to address one comment. 97%, I think it was overhead, what was the comment? Originally, the Research Foundation, the industry standard right now, if you go out and look at research institutes, that overhead rate is somewhere around 28, 29%. When we started this, the parish asked us, hey, can you reduce that overhead rate? And we reduced that overhead rate to 5%. So I know there is a 5% overhead rate. I don't know what the 97% rate, where that number came from.
Well, and I understand what the overhead is. It's just, to me, it looks a little strange to see the entity that proposed the idea charging the program
Understand.
for the overhead costs. I would think that Biomed would be the organization picking up that overhead. There's a charge for an administrative assistant on that. I don't know if that's EAP's administrative assistant.
It is, I will say,
Biomed.
it is EAP's
I don't know
administrative
that
assistant.
because there's no name there.
Understand.
It just says administrative assistant. And so I'm going to ask admin at this point if we could tighten up their reporting, because I don't know what or who. All I see are titles. And having worked with, not for, but with a nonprofit that receives parish dollars, we have to identify who those persons are. And as I looked at that report, I didn't see any names. All I saw were titles. And so I think we can be a little bit more transparent in that sense. And so, and again, I'm not anti-EAP. I don't want folks to think I'm anti-EAP. I'm pro what's right and making sure that we have transparency and that, the program is working as it's intended to do.
Yes,
So
sir.
I understand the concept of the overhead, but I just don't think that we should be footing the bill for, taxpayers should be footing the bill for Biomed, as well as Biomed charging the taxpayers again through the EAP.
Understand, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Attorney Frazier.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I was able to find the answer to my question in another set of minutes. So
Okay.
you can remove me. Thank you.
I do not see anybody else on the board. So we can vote on the issue.
We're voting to move it, though, right?
All right, move it to Thursday.
Yes, we're just moving it to Thursday.
Right. Amendment ain't on here. Don't worry about it.
You can amend it Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't pass with
It's
And that
it's
passes.
already on there.
That passes.
Okay, next we'll move to new business. Authorized resolution number 12 of 2016, supporting the Caddo Bossier Port Commission's 2.5 property tax millage renewal.
So move.
Second?
Was that moved by Commissioner Middleton?
Yes.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Middleton
Second,
and
Dominic.
seconded by Commissioner Dominic.
Okay.
Commissioner Middleton, would you like to speak on your motion?
Yeah, only saying that the port falls within for the most part, District 8, which I represent. I've expressed my thoughts to Mr. England, the port director, that I would like to see them come back with less millage requests since they've already been in effect for 25 years, and instead of continuing on at the same number of years for another 25 years, almost in perpetuity. So that is something that I've asked them to do, and I didn't realize that this process to get them where they are now to be on the April ballot, they had to start back October, November of last year. I'm just saying, there's also some other things out there that's being brought up in the media. So I just ask citizens, even though I feel like we'll pass this resolution, I want them to be alert to what's going on, read up what's going on, and make sure they're really comfortable with this millage as it goes to the ballot in the next couple of months. And if you agree with everything, fine. If not, then say no. But think about it right now, the resolution, since it's in my district, a lot of it is, then let's go ahead and move it to Thursday request.
Commissioner Dominic, would you like to speak on your second?
Oh, it's just a resolution supporting, because it's already on the ballot, obviously.
Right, yes, exactly. My understanding of this.
Well, if it does pass, I hope they'll get Erica a watch, because maybe she'll get here on time.
Put the numbers in the box. I do not see anybody else on the board. Please vote.
I'm just messing with you, Eric.
And that passes.
Next, we move to authorize special resolution recognition to Dale Nix Sr.
So moved. I think I was trying to look, I'll go ahead and Globo. I think I have 2 resolutions on there.
That's correct, yes, sir.
I will go ahead and move that in Globo, the 2 resolutions and also the one for Commissioner Epperson's authorize the visitor for Thursday, so I can just in Globo those, please.
That's moved by Commissioner Dominic and seconded by Commissioner Jackson to englobo
Remaining part.
the remaining 2 issues. For a total of 3.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant that.
Commissioner Johnson?
I was
Excuse me,
going to actually do that because I didn't know you.
Okay, got it.
That's fine.
Okay. Everybody please vote. That passes, Mr. Hopkins.
Next, we have consent agenda.
And I would like to speak on this particular item that's going to the Thursday agenda. If there are any questions, there will not be any representation from the MPC here Thursday. They will all be doing continuing education, and so if there are any questions, if we could please address them now, that would help us.
Nothing on that.
There's not for the ordinance
There's an ordinance.
5564?
Yeah, I don't think we can address that because it's consent, and
Okay.
it would have to be addressed in the public hearing or the vote.
If anybody has any questions, please call Mr. Sweeney in his office today or tomorrow. That's
That's
it.
in
Commissioner
Yes,
District.
Jackson.
Mr.
It's yours.
That's in District 2, I
Oh,
believe.
it is?
It is.
You'll take care of that.
So that's already taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So moved to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
We'll recess,
Much better, buddy.
we'll recess the computers and we'll go into our
Yeah, we got another
office
meeting.
standards meeting.
What's that gonna be?